Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about the Chofetz Chaim. The Chofetz Chaim passed away almost a century ago, and the Chofetz Chaim lived for a century. I don't feel I need to introduce the Chofetz Chaim as he was one of the most famous rabbis to live in the last century and the century before that. So I'll jump right in. We have here two volumes, both of which in common were printed very cheaply and not meant to last a long time. But what they were meant for was to consult it all the time when one has a few minutes, one wants to glance into some Torah for the day. And due to that fact, they are printed, I would say, cheaply, lightly, and a lot of these copies did not survive. It's almost miraculous that they survived as they did. They surround One of the books is written by the Chofetz Chaim, and the other one was owned by him. Okay, the Chofetz Chaim's literature was created for a certain type of reader, as we say today, the common man, and people. It was written in a clear Hebrew, in outline paragraphs, and it was a lot of it was Musar, was ethical literature, and different things that people found it easy and inspiring to take it with them. I know my own great grandfather. As my grandfather told me, he used to prepare for Shabbos early, and when he was in his Shabbos clothing, he would study the works of the Chofetz Chaim. He may have even met him in his youth. And so I'm happy to present these two items today. The older of the items is a book that you could see is not bound, yet it's complete. And it was printed on blue paper. Blue paper is today very collectible. When it was created, it was actually cheap and it was less desirable. So it was the cheaper option to get the blue paper. Today, if one is collecting rare books, almost always, there are always exceptions, but almost always, blue paper is more expensive and harder to find. The volume is written by Rabbeinu Bachaye, who lived in Spain, and it is an ethical work called Shulchan Shel Arba, printed very cheaply in what we call a counterfeit edition. The year is 1820, and it does not even tell us who printed it and where it was printed. I suspect it was printed in Grodno, based on possibly the ornaments, which you see it has a center ornament and an outer ornament. It wasn't likely printed in Shklov, which is the second option, but it could have been printed anywhere. It's a counterfeit edition, likely because in the area it was printed, there was a ban, or what, as they call it, a cherem, on somebody reprinting the volume for another while. So whoever printed it wanted to get past the ban, so they didn't put their name on it and they didn't put the place, so they couldn't be traced. And this one volume has the signature of the Chofetz Chaim on it, Yisrael Meir Kagan. It's written by him as a young man, and I know this because of the many extant signatures of his that are around. Virtually every signature of his is from when he was very old, certainly in the last 10 or 15 years of his life. And you can see that it's written by an old man. This was written by a young man, and however his mem and his aleph of Meir is rather unique, and that is another, what we say, a paleographical way to tell that is his signature. This volume, which what is called Hilchos Suda, the laws of eating and everything that is involved, is an ethical work and something that he quotes from in a number of his books. This next volume, which I have here, is a first edition of the Chofetz Chaim's works, and one that he peddled very widely and spread widely, called Chomas Hadas, which is a treatise, or I wouldn't say even a treatise. It's sort of an ethical work, a musar, on the study of Torah and the setting of times for the study of Torah. Now, the Chofetz Chaim, in his way of writing, usually gets into a lot of the ethical material that has to do with the subject without instructing one what to do until the end, which is what we have here. Every page survives, and it's remarkable how the book went through a whole number of American owners between the time of its printing, 1905, and clearly the ownership marks date before the year 1950. So I can count, before 1950, at least 4 owners. And that's remarkable, but it also shows that, as I mentioned, the Chofetz Chaim's works were for the common man, and they were always highly desirable, as they are today. Many people study the Chofetz Chaim, and are still show us what it was to have such a Maggid, or as he was known, not known as a Maggid, he was known as a tzaddik. So I hope you enjoyed these 2 rare volumes which I have shown you from my library today.